All right, everyone ready for another deep dive. Today we're heading into the Smoky Mountains to explore a chilling legend from Cherokee folklore, Spearfinger. We've got articles, even a blog post from Gatlinburg itself. Should give us a pretty good picture.
Oh yeah, some great sources on this one. You know what always gets me about these stories?
What's that?
It's how they've survived, passed down for generations. Really gives you a sense of how important storytelling is,
Yeah.
for preserving their culture.
Oh, absolutely. And Spearfinger, well, she's a prime example. Imagine this creature lurking in the mountains, waiting to snatch children, and that weapon, a finger, sharp as a spear. It's
Grissom, it is.
It is. Makes you wonder what kind of fears inspired a story like
Well,
this.
her name in Cherokee actually kind of feeds into that whole image. Utlunta, they
And
call her.
her, which means,
The one with the pointed spear? That shows you the power of language. The name itself paints a picture.
you know that blog post we have from Gatlinburg? Gives a pretty vivid description. Spearfinger, disguised as a harmless old woman, offers to brush a child's hair, then bam.
Ugh. Yeah, that image is going to stick with me for a while. Makes
Yeah.
you think, right?
Yeah.
About how appearances can be deceiving.
Oh, for sure. And there's this idea of deception in Cherokee beliefs, too.
Right,
Three worlds, the upper, middle, and underworld.
right. And Spearfinger, she's supposed to come from the underworld, emerges through these portals, adds a whole other layer to the legend.
I read in the Cherokee Storyteller article, her victims, they didn't die right away, took days.
Adds to the horror, doesn't it? Slow, agonizing death, and you've got shape-shifting, superhuman strength, not to mention the sounds. People say she makes these creepy sounds moving through the mountains.
Makes my skin crawl just thinking about it. Oh, and that song, you know the one, Liver, I Eat It? So simple, but so disturbing.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget the raven either. Always hanging around. Goody bird.
There's also that whole tree rock incident. I think that was in the Spearfinger legend article. Spearfinger tried to build a bridge to the upper world.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the higher beings, they weren't too happy about that.
Yeah.
Blasted the whole thing with lightning.
Classic case of hubris. Reminds me of the Tower of Babel story. Reaching too high, you know? And there are supposedly still remnants of that bridge today. Makes you want to go look for them, right?
It really does make you want to go and explore. Blurs the lines between myth and reality.
Speaking of reality check, how did Spearfinger finally meet her end? I think the Gatlinburg blog had that part. The Cherokee, they set a trap.
Yeah, a pit covered up with a fire to lure her in. Seems her stone-like skin wasn't completely fireproof.
Makes sense. So they tricked her. But here's the thing, right? A titmouse tried to warn them, said to aim for her heart.
But they didn't listen. It wasn't until a chickadee landed right on Spearfinger's hand, showing them where her heart was hidden, that they figured it out.
You gotta listen to the little guys sometimes, I guess. But Spearfinger wasn't the only one with a taste for human livers. Stone Man, right?
Ah, yeah, he was another one. Same appetite for livers. But Stone Man, he had a particular weakness. Menstruating women.
Hold on, seriously. They used 7 menstruating women to defeat him. That's incredibly specific. What's the meaning behind that?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? It's a pretty powerful image. And maybe it's about female power, something even these monsters couldn't overcome. Or could it be about like cycles, life and death, menstruation? It's about renewal, right? I mean, it's like the power to banish evil.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. So they put these women in Stone Man's path, and it worked. He was weakened enough for a medicine man to trap him, build a fire right on top of him. It's interesting though, right? Both Stone Man and Spearfinger, they weren't defeated by force, more like outsmarted.
Yeah, good point. Shows how important intelligence and observation are in their culture. It's all about understanding the enemy, finding their weaknesses, using your environment. It's not always about being the strongest. Sometimes it's about being the smartest.
Brains over brawn. Not a bad lesson to learn, really. And it's amazing these stories are ancient, but they still resonate with us today. It's like they tap into some primal fear we all share.
That's the power of stories. They connect us to the past, but they help us explore these big ideas, the human condition and all that.
Yeah, like looking in a mirror, even when it's through these fantastical creatures. Spearfinger, she really embodies a lot of that, doesn't she? The fear of the unknown, children being vulnerable, and that evil can be hiding anywhere.
Definitely. She reminds us to be careful, protect those who can't protect themselves, and to never, ever underestimate how deceptive things can be. But it's not all doom and gloom, is it? The Cherokee, they fought back. They survived. That shows resilience.
And resourcefulness, right. They show what a community can do, working together, understanding nature. I mean, think about how these stories might have given them hope facing their own struggles.
Exactly. It really speaks to their strength
Yeah.
and their ability to adapt, face danger head on, and find a way to make it through. That's what makes these legends so interesting. They give us this glimpse into their culture, their fears, their beliefs, how they survived, even their connection to the land.
It's more than monsters, isn't it? It's about the human spirit, facing down these threats, finding a way to win. And sometimes that means learning from mistakes. Like with the titmouse and the chickadee. It's a good reminder. Stay humble. And don't be afraid to get advice from unexpected places.
Absolutely. You never know who might offer the best insights. It's like, pay attention, listen closely, and don't think you've got it all figured out.
So we've done a pretty deep dive here on Spearfinger. We've seen how scary she is, how she connects to Cherokee beliefs, and what her story can teach us. We talked about how terrifying she is, her ambition, and how she was finally stopped. But there are still some questions, aren't there?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Is she a symbol of fear of the unknown? Or a reminder to respect boundaries? Is it a warning about ambition? What do you think? What stands out to you?
That's the cool thing about these legends, I think. There are so many different ways to understand them. You can draw your own conclusions, no right answer. So the conversation keeps going, even after the story ends. And that's what keeps them alive, right? These stories change a little each time they're told, through the years, through generations. So they pick up new meaning along the way.
It's what makes studying folklore so fascinating. You're not just looking back. You're seeing how those stories are still shaping us, even today.
It's true, like Spearfinger, okay, she's this terrifying monster, but she's also about so much more. Ambition and its consequences, a community coming together to survive, and how important it is to listen to nature, even to the little guys.
She really does represent both sides, doesn't she? The good and evil we all have inside us. It makes her a lot more interesting than just a scary story.
Exactly. It's those layers, all those meanings that keep these legends going, even hundreds of years later.
And as you keep learning about Cherokee stories, or any cultures really, keep asking questions. Don't just take the story at face value. Think about the symbols, the history behind it. You'll be amazed at what you find.
Keep that curiosity going. Keep exploring. Who knows, maybe you'll even run into Spearfinger yourself. Just a reminder that stories have power. They can scare us, but they can also give us hope.